What up, bros? This is the All Bros podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are a couple of aspiring filmmakers that love to watch and critique movies, but also enjoy a lot of bit of the nerd life. And this week, we are joined by Vic once again from the podcast formerly known as Tailgate Talks. Hey, Vic.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Going good.
Nice. Thanks for having me on.
You don't have to talk so quiet, Rose.
Sorry.
Knock it off.
Please.
Kiss my ass.
Be better.
You be better.
Ouch.
So yeah, there's been a couple of changes since last we've talked to you, Vic. You want to give us a little spiel on that?
Yeah, there has been. Like you said, from the podcast formerly known as Tailgate Talks, now I co-host, or am a co-host of Crash and Taz's movie Cellar. Just we wanted some more direction with our show, and that was something I enjoy. I enjoy watching movies just like you guys. And also change of co-host. I have an uncle that, he watches more movies than anyone else that I know or can think of. Particularly the 80s and 80s movies. He loves those. So I don't have the same host anymore, but it's good. It's a lot of fun right now. We're still kind of, thinking of ideas on how to make it better. And, my uncle, who has never listened to a podcast, let alone record one, it's a huge change. So it's a lot of fun though. We're having fun with it. We mostly every now and then we'll talk about movies, but mostly we'll watch and review older movies and ones that we would probably recommend that people give a watch, or yeah. So that's what we do.
Sweet. I'm an avid listener to your show. Yeah, I listen to everyone's show, but never get a listen back. Except from you.
Well, yeah, of course.
I was gonna say I take a little offense to that.
Okay, I'll fully admit when Caleb said big changes since last time, for a second I thought he was reverting to the All Bros. So I'm like, wait, what the hell? What did you change?
I didn't change shit.
Yeah, so I'm like, thanks for letting me know.
On the show. Well, since I'd been on the show, you guys have changed the grading system and everything too. So
that's a good point.
There has been some changes with you guys.
Thought he was kicking me off.
Yep, it's happening. Sorry, you have to find out this way.
You had to find out somehow.
It's just the All Bro now.
He accepted your 2-week resignation 2 weeks ago. So sorry, Rose.
I expect all the back pay.
Fine. Oh shit. Well, this week we got a couple things in adventures in hunting. Got a few new pops that have been released. We also got one Blu-ray that's coming out this week.
Yes, came out 2 days ago.
Yep. No through-the-wall news, nothing super significant.
No, not that I can think of.
So then we'll just skip to this week's sneak peeks, where we got the first trailer for It Chapter 2. And then for our main event of the evening, we are going to wrap up our breakdown of Avengers Endgame. Our first part two-parter.
Yeah, I think it's two-parter.
Two-parter.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so
see if we can make it a third-parter. I'm just kidding.
With how much we have to say about this movie, probably.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get started. What say you two?
Let's do it. I'm going to take that as a yes from Vic.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Whoa, let's get on with it then.
Yeah, leave it. I said you too.
Sorry, man. All right, let's do this.
Okay, first off, in Adventures in Hunting, we got a few new pops that have been released. We got a new Endgame line, which could you really consider that a line? It's just
three. It's just 3 pops.
Well, 4 if you count the FYE Thor.
What's that? Wait. Okay, wait. So there's the FYE Thor, that Hulk holding the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yep.
And then Pepper in her Iron Man suit.
Yeah, but there's also another Thor in his weird red normal clothes.
Okay.
His Big Lebowski look.
Okay, yeah, so it is 4. My bad.
Yeah, and I know we talked to you, Vic, about the FYE Thor. So that might be the straw that breaks the camel's back on you actually getting in on this game with us.
I think so, because I know since I've started listening to you guys, I mean, before when I saw these little pop figures, I don't know, I never could get into them, but I don't, and maybe it's because I just don't have my own little workspace right now, but I don't know that I could do it. I just don't know if I could bring myself to buying any of these. But some of them look really cool. Like I told you, if they have the battle ready Thor like he was in Endgame, then I think I would end up buying that.
Yeah, absolutely. That figure, if that's the first one you get, that's just going to lead to a shit ton of problems down the line.
Once you start, you can't stop.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm looking up some of these right now, and some of them look actually pretty cool. I mean, I'm looking at Stan Lee with an Infinity Gauntlet. Like, what the shit, man? Like, that looks awesome. Why am I don't know, man. I really don't know that I can stay away from this much longer, but I'm holding out right now.
Yeah, people get crazy with those custom ones.
Mm-hmm.
Fooled
me and Caleb a couple days ago. Someone made the scene where the Hulk is holding a taco from Endgame, and it literally looks so realistic. I really thought Funko was releasing it, but no, it was a custom.
So they can make custom ones then? Is that it?
Some people do. So, like, it's a hobby of theirs. So that Stan Lee with the Infinity Gauntlet is a custom.
I really wish it was a thing.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
So, like, I see one right now. Again, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this on my end, and I see looks like a movie moment of Thor thrusting Stormbreaker right into Thanos. I'm guessing I don't know if that's one of those.
No, that one's
ones.
real.
Yeah, that's official.
Okay. I was gonna say that one looks really cool.
I love that one, and I have that one.
Yeah, they have movie moments which are kind of set up like that. They have the Cap versus Thanos movie moment.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Hulk versus Hulkbuster movie moment, which I still need.
In time, you'll get it.
I also got the Hulk smashing Loki movie moment. And that's freaking amazing. But yeah, they have different types. They have ones that are flocked, which have weird velvet stuff on them.
Yeah.
They have movie moments. They have the commons, the chases, the glow in the dark ones, the 10-inch. They just have a really wide variety of different figures.
When it comes to some franchises, I feel Funko milks it a little too much, but it's all right.
Yeah, which, speaking of, we got in our other this isn't really an Endgame line, but we got 6 Walmart exclusive multicolored Hulks.
Thanos all over again.
And this is bullshit.
Caleb's
Thanos, or not Thanos, but hell, probably. Funko knows that I am not going to go and not buy any new Hulk figures, and they decided to screw me in the ass with 6 new ones. All exclusive to Walmart, and they're probably all getting released at the same time. So
they usually do, because they usually have a display of them.
Yeah, so freaking horse shit. Yeah, I saw that, and I was beyond pissed. Or you sent it to me, and I was like, please tell me that's fake.
Yeah. I think it would have been fine until you saw the exclusive sticker. They were commons, you'd be fine. But yeah, since they're exclusives, you just got a lot harder.
Yep.
That's exactly why I don't know that I want to get into that. But hey, man, to each his own.
Yep. And then the last line that we got is Founding Fathers line.
This looks awesome. I want
They
them
do
all.
look super cool. So we got George Washington,
Yep.
Ben Franklin, Abraham Lincoln. I don't know the actual name of the chick that, like, in the, the chick in the yellow poster that's, like, flexing her arm, wearing, like, a blue...
Rosie the Riveter.
Oh, that's her name.
Yep, her.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, she's a Target exclusive.
Abraham Lincoln's a Target exclusive too, and so is Uncle Sam.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Uncle Sam
And
was
then
in there, too.
there's
And then
a,
there's
the Target exclusive movie moment that has a
it's a
George...
history moment.
Sorry. Oh yeah,
That thing
that's
actually
true.
happened.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It is a history moment of George Washington crossing the Delaware.
I'm glad you said that, because you could have failed me really hard.
I was hoping I actually got that right.
It sounds right.
Okay. I hope it's the Delaware. Wait, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say crossing the river. My history is absolute shit. Dude, like, no joke,
That's
in
true.
high school, I was super shitty at history, but whenever we got into, like, the mythology
Yeah.
part of our history classes, I freaking kicked ass.
Okay, yeah, we were the complete opposite.
You didn't deal with the mythology?
Yeah, no, I sucked at it.
History's rough.
Math is the roughest, though.
Yeah.
Maybe
math
not for
sucks.
you.
I mean, it's not fun, but I'm good at it.
Some people find it fun.
Oh. Anyway, moving on to Blu-rays, we got the Lego Movie 2 getting released this week.
Yeah, which I hate that this movie underperformed.
It was a pretty good movie.
It's a good sequel. It really
Have you
is.
seen it yet, Vic?
I have not.
Well,
I
you're just
actually
part of the
haven't
problem.
seen any of the Lego movies, but
What?
I started and it's just not. It's not my kind of humor. I don't know. I couldn't get into them.
Not even the Lego Batman movie?
I couldn't. I tried. I really did. I really did give it an honest effort. And there was even a time I was like donating plasma, so I was stuck there and had to watch it, and I still couldn't get into it.
What?
Yeah.
I've
couldn't.
lost all faith
Tried.
in humanity.
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
That movie is so good. Like, okay, Lego Movie isn't nearly as good as Lego Batman.
Oh, yeah.
And Lego Movie 2 isn't as good as the first one.
Yeah.
But they're still good movies.
They
There's
are.
there's little gems in there.
Lego Ninjago is definitely the worst of the four.
Let's not bring that up.
It's not that bad.
It's rough.
Yeah, okay. Alright, I'll give you that. But
You'd be terrible in a debate.
I know I would. Oh, I know I would.
It's like someone would just bring up a counterpoint and you'd be like, "Oh yeah."
That's a good point. You win.
I could just see you being like, "She's really convincing."
Oh shit, that's funny.
Well, I think that pretty much covers Adventures in Hunting. So let's move on to this week's sneak peeks, where we got a really good look at It Chapter 2. And this trailer's slightly scarring.
It is. I feel it's like a clip and a trailer at the same time.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
A little bit.
At least for the first half.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a bad half. I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Jessica Chastain, like you said this earlier, this is definitely her trailer.
Yeah.
And there was some weird shit.
So, like when the old lady like freezes with her smile after she says no one ever really dies in Derry. I'm like, the shit? Okay.
Yeah. What did you think about this, Vic?
Like I said, I thought it was more of like a movie clip, but yeah, that thing that freaked the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie, but it made me really intrigued. Like I really wanna see this one actually.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. So when Beverly was in the bathroom looking, and you kind of see the old lady's figure in the back, what was she doing? Was she like? I thought she was just like jumping around in excitement. Is that what you got?
That's what it looked like.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Once I saw that, I was like, nope. I'm gonna go see this in theaters if I have to like
I'm
force
dragging
myself.
your ass there.
Yeah, because I saw the first one in theaters and I need to.
You do, because I don't know, like everything. The Adult Losers Club looks great in this. Like I can't wait to see this cast and see what they can do. And especially once again, Bill Skarsgård looks like he's gonna kill it as Pennywise. Especially that end with just that like smile and hello. Ugh, chills.
Yeah. And
It definitely looks like a movie that should be seen.
so's the first one, Vic.
Hey, I said I tried to watch it. I made the mistake of watching it with a girl, and yes, the movie did not get watched. We made out instead. It's not my fault.
You could have just positioned her so you could still watch it.
Yeah, but then it would.
I mean,
it is a 2-hour movie, so it would turn into a 2-hour makeout session. But I don't know if anybody would really complain about that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Exactly.
say, and the issue is.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not complaining that I didn't see it. I mean, it's not like I'm not gonna ever try and watch it again. Like I said, the few parts that I did manage to catch and see, like they looked really good and intriguing. However, the girl that I was making out with was also just as intriguing.
See what she did there.
Apparently, she was more intriguing.
Absolutely.
Oh shit. So since we don't have like multiples to get, like to say which one we're more excited for, where on the scale are you sitting at with excitement? On a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, it's a 10.
10?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sitting at a 9 just because I am.
Get out of your damn house.
I'm actually with Caleb on that. I'm sitting at a 9 too. Like it's. I would probably go see it just for the suspense and like that thrill, but not having seen the first one, I that's why I think I'd only put it at a 9. But the trailer for it just was phenomenal.
It was. Yeah, I'm sitting at a 9 because I'm a little bitch when it comes to horror movies.
I'm offended by you two. Offended.
Dude, and we made the mistake of going with Bronson and his friend to the first one, and I was fine throughout most of the movie until but they jumped like a freaking shit ton, and that's what scared me.
I don't think, because didn't Coy come with us too?
Oh yeah, he did too.
I don't think he jumped at all.
Yeah, Coy's insane.
See, it's never really like the movies that scare me. It's the people that are around me. Whenever I'm watching like scary movies or thrillers or anything like that, it's always their reaction. You know what I mean? Like if you're sitting in a group, kind of like how you're saying, it sounds like you went to a theater, but you're sitting next to them. But like if somebody next to me jumps, like that's what freaks me out more than the movie itself.
Yeah, that's the exact same situation with me. Like I've watched horror movies by myself before, just a couple, not like super scary ones. But I'm usually fine until Brielle comes out of frickin' nowhere and is like, hey, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, you can't sneak up on me like that. I'm like, you have to knock or do something. You can't just appear.
Wear a bell.
There you go. Isn't the knocking going to scare you too, though?
Yeah, I was gonna say the knocking would scare me. Like if that just came out of nowhere, I'd prefer like if I had a spouse, I'd prefer them wearing a bell at least so I know where they're at, more or less. Like if I stopped hearing that bell, then I'd freak out.
No, because if she started running towards me with the bell, I would lose my shit. So like a light knocking, followed by an immediate response. Knock knock. Hey. That's what I could handle. I couldn't handle just a knock knock and then just silence. That would make me flip.
But a knock knock maniacal laugh.
Yeah,
knock knock, kick the door down.
There
Got
you go.
it.
There you go.
You guys are just listing a bunch of ways to make me shit my pants.
It's good ideas for Halloween.
That's an easy list then, my friend.
It doesn't take a whole lot to scare me.
Oh yeah, no, Caleb's a bitch. I'm sorry. I'm
Or a
sorry.
bitch.
You are. You're so easy to scare.
Whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I'm sitting at a 9. Rose, you're sitting at a 10, and Vic, you're sitting at a 9.
I'm sitting at a comfortable 9. Yep.
Sweet.
Sure, you guys don't want to bump it to 9.5.
Nope.
Damn it.
Well, that covers everything that we got in news. So let's say we jump to the main event.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
Time for the main event. Let's play a game.
All right, our main event of the evening, we are going to conclude our breakdown of Avengers Endgame. So last week, when we talked about it, we only talked about the story.
And that's the first time in a while we've gone through the whole story of a movie.
Yeah, but the story is just amazing.
It really is. So it made sense. It deserved it.
Yeah. So we graded the story at a 95. And I'm pretty sure we can all agree on that because it wasn't a perfect story, but it was damn near close.
Agreed.
So, we still got writing to talk about, acting, character development, talk about the music, the effects, the costumes, and then give it an overall genre grade to come to our final grade for this movie. Alright, so first off, writing. Did you guys have any issues with the writing? Vic?
I don't think I necessarily had any issues. Now, I've seen the movie 3 times, and I think at the 3rd time was when I kind of came to the realization of some things. I know we were talking a little bit before we started recording about like Gamora having such like a quick change of heart. But again, I had to remind myself like that time period that she's in, that's supposed to be when Guardians of the Galaxy, when they introduced the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And she already kind of is in that phase, you know what I mean? Like she's already in that mindset that she's not going to really be helping Thanos much longer. So, and also I guess the circumstance kind of changed things too. But just little things like that, like I said, I think it was just after seeing the movie more than twice, that I kind of reconciled with some of those, I guess you could say, issues that I had.
Yeah, a lot of my issues were with the time travel.
I guess so.
So there was a lot of like things about. So I knew the plan was to get the stones, bring them to the present, use the stones to kind of fix what Thanos did, and then take them back. But
Yes.
with the time travel stuff, they took them in different forms, or so they would be returning the stones in different forms than they took them. Like with Iron Man and Cap getting the Tesseract from 1970, are they going to return the stone because it was the Tesseract? And then the same thing with the Mind Stone being in the scepter. The Soul Stone, I have no idea how the hell Cap's going to return that.
Well, even the Reality Stone, I mean, that was supposed to be like kind of like a liquid or like that ether. It's not even really a stone.
Yeah, so that one I actually kind of was able to justify, saying that he just has to inject it back into Jane Foster.
But what does he do? What does he tell her? Hey, this is how gonna help you sleep. You know, and swallow this.
If this
You
is
know what
like
I mean? Or what is it? It's a suppository? I don't know. That thing was kind of a big stone.
Well,
like
with Rocket, he took it out of Jane and then was able to like keep it stored, and so it kind of turned into like more of a stone. So I'm wondering if Jane is just going to have the weirdest day where a raccoon attacks her to to like take the stone out, and then she walks out and Captain America just like jabs her back with it.
but in that case, like they were all stones. That Hulk or Banner has all the stones inside of that suitcase. They're all stones.
Yeah, they are, huh?
So I don't.
Damn.
I'm kind of with you now on that. I actually didn't think about that until you mentioned it. Thanks for ruining the movie for me.
Yeah, I
but
appreciate
it was good.
Thanks, Albers.
The only ones that were stones were the Power Stone and the
Soul Stone.
no, the Soul Stone and the Time Stone.
Yeah.
Those are the three easiest ones to return. So is Cap going to rebuild the Tesseract and remake Loki's scepter, or what?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so that's
That was
like
a
my
really good
biggest
question.
issue with the writing is they just kind of left these open, and also with like some of the time things. So with this movie, is Guardians of the Galaxy completely different now? Because in that timeline, they never met Gamora because Gamora's in 2023.
I want to say one of the Russos touched upon that because, like, I think it was Joe that said, because of, like the whole thing with Thanos and, like the 5-year gap and, them being able to snap back what Thanos did, because they kind of like broke, what's the word? I gotta find this quote again.
Like they broke time.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. So like in a way it like affects like all plots, but at the same time it doesn't.
So you think that it's the main plot, but then it like all these like little subplots have been, or these like what is it? Like these, like what the Ancient One was afraid of.
Yeah.
The branches kind of went off. So there's a branch where the Guardians never met Gamora because that Gamora went back or jumped in the main timeline.
Because you got to think like when Cap,
Okay.
comes back as old, it's like, okay, well, so then he never became an Avenger. Like, so did like the Avengers never happen?
Yeah, I mean that even after the first time I saw that, seeing and realizing, even as soon as he went back in time and they're, Banner's counting him down to bring him back, I'm thinking he's not going to come back. He's going to stay in the 40s. And he ends up doing that. And my thought went straight to he just effed up the entire, he just effed up all of that timeline. Just like the Ancient One said, just because he put the stones back, he himself didn't come back to the present. He stayed back and he altered time.
So what if we're at the end of Endgame, we're not following the main branch of reality anymore? We're at the reality where Cap went back in time.
Okay,
I mean, I would imagine so, because that's how I would interpret that. He didn't stay. If he would have come back when he was supposed, or like he was supposed to, that would say that all of what happened to him in Captain America: The First Avenger actually happened, versus him staying back. He stayed. He got married. He doesn't say that he had any children, but I mean, that's I would just imagine, he just had a normal life with his wife, and I can't imagine that life is the same anymore.
There's like different forms of like time travel. The Back to the Future like form of time travel is that he goes back in time and can change stuff, but it affects the present. There is I don't recall any movies that do this that I've seen, but then there's the form where you go back and change something, and it branches off, and then you're like a different reality, like what the Ancient One explained.
That would be like a butterfly effect.
Yes, kinda.
And I don't know if you saw that movie. I think after I had mentioned it in one of my past shows, I think you said you watched it. But anyways, yeah, that one stars It's a movie called The Butterfly Effect, starring Ashton Kutcher, and he's able to go to certain events of his life after reading journal entries, and he can go and he can. I mean, there's a scene where like he's in prison and he's trying to prove to his cellmate that he can go in the past and change the future. And so he goes and he reads a journal entry where he's in a classroom and he like stabs his hands, and he has these scars now on his hands. And the cellmate, he's this Hispanic dude, and he's like, "Holy crap, dude, it's stigmata," and but that's a smaller one. I mean, he's still in the same situation, but he goes back to other points of his life where, like you said, it just totally branches off in like completely different reality.
Yeah, so that's more of a Back to the Future kind of thing, where he just goes back and like changes something, and then that kind of just appears on his body. This is more like a brand, like different dimensions that you can travel to in a way.
Right.
And then the third one, which I think is what they're trying to go for in Endgame, is more like a Doctor Who kind of form of time travel. They had this whole episode with Weeping Angels, where the Doctor where it's kind of like a loop. This girl gets these videos from the Doctor, and he's just talking like utter nonsense. So he's just talking about this stuff, and she's just like, "What the hell?" And then eventually she talks to this point where she like starts to communicate with this video, and then she asks a question, he answers it, and then it's basically like this thing already happened. So whatever. So it's kind of like a yeah. So like she communicates with this thing, or with this video that she gets from the Doctor of how to stop these weeping angels. And she like starts asking questions, and then she writes down everything that she's saying and that he's saying. And then at the end he says, "All right, that's all I have, blah blah blah." And then she continues on with her day. Like after the whole, like she fixes everything, is like saves everything and whatever. She runs into the Doctor and goes and hands him this book of like the transcript of what happened with her. And then he like, so it's kind of like a loop, just kind of the same things happening. So my theory, if this is how they wanted to do Endgame, is that the Cap that went back in time is the husband that Peggy Carter was talking about in that video in Winter Soldier. That he goes back, lives his life, but he gets to witness all of these events happening again. He gets it, but from that perspective. And who better to keep a secret like that than Peggy frickin' Carter?
Yeah, point. And that also raises the question. I mean, if he never became an Avenger, how did he get the shield?
Yeah, like that could have just been the shield that he went back with. Or wait, did he go back with the shield?
He didn't. No, he didn't have the shield. He only had
hammer.
Mjolnir. He only had Mjolnir and the stones.
Yep.
Didn't Tony say he had like 3 more?
No, he only had the one.
No,
he said, "I didn't bring enough for the whole group."
Yeah.
He only had the one, and it got smashed to shit by Thanos.
Huh. Maybe he had another one made.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, he went back in time, so that shield is not like it's... That one's still, made.
That's weird.
All I know is the
So-
Russos need to come out with Endgame .5 to explain all this shit.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I mean, I actually, now that you mention that though, that makes sense. That really does make sense, because I remember the first time I watched Endgame, I'm hearing Falcon telling him, like, you know, I think it's weird I have to live in a world without Captain America. And my thought was just like what you said, Rose, was like, hey, he never became an Avenger, so that means the world never had Captain America. That was my initial thought. But then when he gives him the shield, I'm like, well, hold on. That means he was Captain America. So the world had Captain America, and I think what Falcon meant was, like, now he's got to keep living and there is no Captain America. You know what I mean? I mean, he had Captain America as one of his best friends there, and now he has to live without him, kind of thing, because he's an old man and probably can't do any of the stuff that he did when he was young. I mean, he was still right, but
Can't be on his left anymore.
yeah. But I mean, I actually could get on board with that, Caleb, about kind of going into a loop.
Yeah. So, like, what if, like, this, my whole thing is, what if he goes back in time, puts all the stones back, however the hell that he does that? Like, wasn't it said that the Asgardians made the Tesseract? So he could have just gone back that far and been like, hey, fix this. Like, for all we know, but whatever. So so that could be the thing. He goes back in time and is with Peggy, but there's also frozen Captain America in the ice. Like, if Peggy was still alive when they found Captain America in the ice, if she would have found him in the ice, she would have been there. But she was, like, too old to, like, go and actually, like, see him. So she honestly could have, like, because she had, like, Alzheimer's in Winter Soldier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if she had that, what if she just kind of forgot everything, and then that's when old Steve, or like Endgame Steve, knew that he had to leave, because that's when his past self started visiting Peggy, and then he knows exactly when Endgame, or when past Captain America goes into the past and starts living his life, so he knows exactly when to end up on that park bench.
Some trippy shit. Right
It
there.
is some trippy shit.
You're hurting my head.
I mean, ultimately, I saw it as this. I mean, maybe this was me taking the easy way out with, not digging into this so much right off the bat, but I saw it as the MCU opening up a door for them to start introducing more Marvel characters for future movies. I've already read and done research that there's already talk of X-Men movies, reboots. So, I mean, it isn't out of the question to say that Captain America going back in time and staying back may have effed all of that stuff up, but opened up doors for X-Men to start coming in. Maybe to introduce another Wolverine. Hopefully they don't, because I can't think of anyone other than Hugh Jackman to go in there as Wolverine. And so, but I mean, that may have been me taking the easy way out, just saying, you know what? They're just opening that door. Because and I know this show is all about, there's a spoiler alert on this show, but if you haven't seen the Spider-Man trailer yet, I mean, open up a frickin' IMDb and, like, look at it, or look it up on YouTube. But even Peter Parker on there having some kind of interaction with Nick Fury, he mentions, like, he asks the question. Now, I don't know, because we don't see anything more than what the trailer shows us, but there's talk of a multiverse. So, I mean, who's to say that something like that after the snap didn't happen?
So Endgame very well could have started the multiverse.
It very well could have. And I know, and from what I've read, Spider-Man Far From Home is like the end of Phase 4, Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, Phase 4. So Endgame isn't exactly the end.
Oh wait, no, sorry, no, it's the end of Phase 3.
Phase 3. Okay, thank you. So it's
sorry.
So Spider-Man, I get Far From Home is supposed to be like the end of that, if I read that correctly.
No,
So I mean,
I believe you're right. Yeah, I
So
think
there's
Kevin
very
Feige's
well a world.
So there's more to the story. We probably won't even get these answers until June 2nd, when not June 2nd, July 2nd.
I was like, June 2nd? It's getting released early? Yes!
No, you're right. July 2nd. When Far From Home comes out. No, I'd be very excited about that if it was coming out early.
There's very much. We may be living in a world where the different suits in Spider-Man Far From Home are different Spider-Men.
You know what?
My brain just freaking exploded.
And in comes Tobey Maguire towards the end of that show. Yeah, I know, because
and
there's
Andrew Garfield.
No,
this is a multiverse. No, I hope they don't. I hope they don't.
Oh my gosh, live action Spider-Ham.
Yes.
Goodness gracious. But like I said, I'm kind of holding out and waiting for Far From Home to come out, because I feel like we're gonna get more of those answers from that, it being the end of that whole phase. So I'm not taking Endgame right now, anyways, as the end of that chapter. I'm waiting for Spider-Man to come out, because from what I've read and researched, that's supposed to be like the closing of that whole chapter.
Okay.
Him bringing up that movie made me realize we forgot to talk about that trailer. Remember, it was released Monday?
Oh my hell.
Whoops.
That one's a 10. Let me just say that right now. Good job, guys.
We're so dumb. We're going to have to give it a little more. Well, we actually gave it enough talking through.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Getting back on track, writing.
Yeah.
I'm sitting at a 90 because of all the time
Yeah,
shit.
now that you guys have put that in my head, yeah, I'm sitting at a 90 as well.
What are you thinking?
I want to give it, and there's one other thing I wanted to mention about the writing.
Okay.
I want to give it like a 97.
97?
Hear me out on this. A 97. Because it was, and I don't know if you've caught any of this, but they did a lot of, they threw in a lot of foreshadowing into this movie. And it was stuff that, again, I love when a movie can throw like some foreshadowing in and be very subtle and like about it. It even and what I like is that the foreshadowing for Endgame, I guess you could say, predates to Infinity War. You can almost tell, like, you don't realize it until you've watched Endgame, that Tony Stark's gonna die. I didn't. I mean, like, before the movie even came out, everybody's like wondering, oh, Captain America's gonna die, or Tony Stark's gonna die, and once I saw the movie more than a few times, there's the scene where Tony Stark, he pulls in to Avengers headquarters right there, and he meets Steve Rogers, and they're talking, and then he's saying, all right, I figured it out. I figured out how to map, time travel. So here's the plan. We go get the stones, do this, and that's the plan, and try not to die in the process. And I didn't catch that at first, because it's just Tony Stark just being him. You know what I mean? Like, that's his personality. He's kind of really like quick and witty. And so I didn't think anything of that. You go back to Infinity War, and when he gets stabbed with his own blade by Thanos, the one thing Thanos tells him is, with whatever's left of humanity, I hope they remember you. And let's be real, everybody is going to remember Tony Stark. Even, everyone is. I am. And let's even go back to the first Avengers film with Steve Rogers telling him, that he's somebody that is not willing to do any kind of self-sacrifice. Now, thinking that is him going up and, taking that missile up into, like where all the, whatever those aliens, the Chitauri are coming from. Like, we're thinking, oh, that's what he's talking about. But I'm looking at that as, I mean, yeah, he was willing to do some self-sacrifice, but the real sacrifice was right there, pulling on that gauntlet. I mean, there has been like foreshadowing for this, for Tony Stark's big sacrifice, for a long time. And I think that is awesome. I mean, if a movie can sell me on that, I'm sitting at a 97 with that. That's why I really think the writing was great with that. I'm giving you this, the time travel was a little
Well, I think you're looking at the writing of the entire MCU. Like, we're talking just this.
Just Endgame?
Just Endgame. Yeah.
I mean, I still.
Because there's like like you brought up a whole lot of, like, with Iron Man, a lot of, like, his whole, like, you wouldn't be the one to lay down your life on the line. That was more growth throughout the MCU, which we're going to get to in character development, because in character development, I think we should look over the character as a whole. Mm-hmm. But in writing, that's movie specific.
Then
it does kind of
maybe like a 95.
I would settle with a 95. If you guys are willing to meet me in the middle of that, I'd be happy with a 95. I think the writing was good. Again, I think they're trying to just keep things open for them to start introducing more Marvel characters. Like you said, Caleb, those could be different Spider-Men from different universes, multiverses.
Well, that's just assumption at this point, but that's because that's Spider-Man Far From Home. In Endgame, right. Overall, I'm still sitting at a 90, guys.
Sitting at a 90.
Yeah, just like the time travel stuff was a little like wonky.
I'll give you that. Maybe like a 92, 93?
I can
yeah, meet me at 90. Meet me at like a 90, 92, 93. I could agree with Rose on that.
Okay, I can do 92.
Okay.
I'd be happy with that.
Okay.
Don't make me I'm gonna get the Pawn Stars in here and have them really start making some deals on this.
All right, moving on to acting. The ones that we're going to cover are Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., Captain America, played by Chris Evans, Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner, Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, Ant-Man, played by Paul Rudd, Rocket Raccoon, voiced by...
He's not a raccoon, it's just Rocket.
Okay, Rocket, voiced by Bradley Cooper, War Machine, played by Don Cheadle, Nebula, played by Karen Gillan.
It's Gillan. I want to say it's Gillan.
Okay. And Thanos, played by Josh Brolin. And then we have our group of others that we're going to go over, which are Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, Star-Lord, Chris Pratt, Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, Pepper Potts, Gwyneth Paltrow. This is really testing me.
I'm just hoping you're gonna slip up on one.
Okoye, I'm not even gonna try.
I can't fault you for that
with
one.
Her name.
It's an awesome name though.
Slip up.
Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie. The Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton. Frigga, played by Renee Russo. Valkyrie, played by... Oh, shit. Oh, no. Gosh damn it.
Oh,
You just
oh,
hit me,
yeah,
Rose.
I want to say it's Tessa Thompson, isn't it?
Ah, damn it, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit.
Yes.
Korg, played by Taika Waititi, and Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana. Damn it, I was so good.
You really were.
All
'Cause
right.
some of those
Wow,
I
that
didn't
was-
even
that was
actually
pretty
know.
Impressive.
I forgot who played
That was
the
actually very
ancient
impressive.
one for a minute.
Okay, so we're gonna do the Iron Man through Thanos that I listed for acting, and then we're just gonna group together the more minor characters into one.
Okay. So with the main characters, did you say that we're grading them on just Endgame or the whole character throughout the MCU? of 22
Character
films?
development we're gonna do throughout the MCU.
Okay.
Acting is just gonna be
Just
Endgame.
Endgame. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So first off, Robert Downey as Iron Man. This, I feel, was one of his best
I
performances.
completely agree. This is like Oscar worthy.
It is. It totally is. I'm ready to give him 100.
I am too. I think he deserves it.
Vic?
Yeah, give that man an Oscar. I'd say 100 with him.
All right, let's
One
do
of his
it.
greatest performances.
All right, let's give that man an All Bros Oscar.
There's
Sitting
actually
at
a
100.
bunch of fans and the Russo brothers are trying to, get him recognized and hopefully in the lineup for an Oscar for this film.
Let's make it freaking happen.
Yes.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Okay, Chris Evans is Captain America, and
So this
I
is
loved
just
him in
acting,
this.
right?
Just acting.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I loved him too. I feel he didn't really have as many lines as like he has had in like past movies, I feel. But
Yeah, more than he did in Infinity War.
that's true. Well, I feel like everyone did, considering like the cast was cut more than in half.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was fantastic. But he's fantastic in any movie that he's Captain America.
Yeah. Was he Robert Downey level though?
I don't know that I would give him that much credit.
Oh no,
I would say for me personally, I'd give him between a 95 and a 97 in his acting. If we're just going based on acting, I'd give him somewhere around there. But I think that, I don't think he's at Robert Downey level.
I'd give him a 97.
I'm sitting at a 95.
Well, can you meet us in
So-
the middle at 96?
I can do 96.
Okay.
96. All right. Next, we got Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
You can tell he had a blast doing this.
He had an
Oh,
amazing
yes.
time, and it shows.
Oh yeah.
Like I loved him as much as in this one as I did in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. So he was played more as a comedic role, and I was a little irritated with it at first, but after the second watch, it really just kind of fits.
It does.
Like with what they did with Thor Ragnarok, it does not come out of nowhere.
No, it doesn't.
Which I feel if this is the Thor that if they would have given us a more serious Thor in Thor Ragnarok, given us Infinity War, and then given us this Thor, I would have been like blindsided by that. Which I still kind of was.
Yeah.
And he was, I mean, like, he still had his funny moments even from, like, the first Thor, but I mean, yeah, I agree. I think you can tell he had a lot of fun with this. It's definitely not something that was, like you said, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't just out of the blue kind of thing.
Because I know Chris Hemsworth came out and said that after Age of Ultron, he didn't really think Thor could go anywhere. But in a way, I feel Taika Waititi, he didn't recreate the character, but I feel like he actually like gave him character development, which I think Thor was definitely lacking.
He was. Thor, even in the comics, is just kind of
Bland.
I wanted to say bland, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm fine that Thor is different in the MCU than he is in the comics. I think it works in their favor.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they're, at least from what we've seen, it seems like they're going to continue his story on. And
I really
glad
hope
for
he
that.
becomes a Guardian, please.
Oh,
Like, come on.
They-
he's an Asgardian.
The Russo brothers, they haven't confirmed yet that he will be part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I don't know how many more films he has signed with them or for the MCU, but he has come out and said that he will play Thor as often and as much as they will use him.
Yes.
I want to thank Chris Hemsworth on the air for making Thor's body type way more realistic.
Yes.
Finally cosplay as him.
Right?
Hell yeah, I
mean,
can.
I feel more confident now going up to girls now if I want to go, like, ladies. Like, I'm feeling a little more confident after seeing that. Melted ice cream is the new look, guys. It's the new look.
Now I can tell people I have the body of Thor.
Yep. I
Not
was
Chris
ahead of the game.
Hemsworth, but Thor.
Yeah, so look at that. We were ahead of the game, guys. I mean, that's really
Oh.
for his acting. I want to give him maybe like a 95.
That's what I'm sitting
me
at too.
I mean, if anybody suggested more, I would be willing to go up because I think he did a great job in this movie.
If he
But
does,
I feel comfortable giving him a 95.
if he does join Volume 3, I'm very interested to see what James Gunn will do with his character.
I bet James
Oh, yeah.
Gunn is just giddy.
Yeah,
He's
right?
Like, thank you for giving me Thor.
Right?
This
But
is
I'm
going to be
telling you,
one. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I loved his the battle ready look for him right there. I mean, the beard was all like braided up. His hair went to dreads almost. I mean, even the armor, like I went to go see the movie for the first time with my cousin, and I was asking him, like, when he, you see the storm coming, like he's getting ready. I'm like, oh man, I wonder if I asked my cousin, like, I whispered to him, I go, I wonder if he's going to have abs, like if he's all of a sudden going to be like ripped again. But then he still has like a gut in the armor, like the armor just kind of like it reshaped itself to fit him. I was like, oh, that is awesome. Like, he looks like what I would think a Viking would look like, because I don't think a Viking was just all ripped. I think they had some gut to them. You know what I mean? I was like, now there is a god I could follow right here in the battle.
Yeah. I don't really got anything else to say about Thor other than I freaking loved him.
Yeah, I don't either. He was amazing.
Well, let's talk about someone I didn't love as much.
This is going to be bad.
Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo.
Professor Hulk?
Professor frickin' Hulk.
I'd say 100.
No,
agree
you can
with
go
Vic.
jump in a creek, Victor.
Seriously, when me and Caleb saw this, I don't think I've ever heard someone let out the biggest sigh. Like, his sigh was just so loud when you see him at the diner table with the Black Widow, Ant-Man, and Cap. Oh my goodness, I'm surprised some people weren't looking around.
Now, the first
the moment,
time... Oh,
the
sorry.
moment I saw that, I just knew Caleb was going to have some issues with this. I just knew it.
Oh, I had issues.
Too many to count.
What's disappointing in this, I feel like they killed off the Hulk.
They kind of did in a
I
way.
mean, another thing that's come out is that the Hulk's status at the end of, or his state at the end of the film is permanent.
That's bullshit! No, Hulk's healing factor rivals that of
The
Wolverine.
Infinity Stones?
No,
Though?
he's taken...
These are
Someone's blasted
but
a
these are
hole
the
through Hulk's body, and he's healed from that.
But these are the Infinity Stones that, according to the MCU, creates what we know to be reality.
He should be able to heal from it still. Thanos doesn't have a healing factor. It's understandable that he was kind of weakened a ton. Iron Man is it just a normal human being? Yes, he died. Hulk,
Spoiler alert. I'm just kidding.
don't even, Rose. Not while I'm ranting. No, but Hulk has a healing factor. Yes, I feel it would have been good for him to be out of commission for the rest of the battle, or at least be fighting with the one hand that's jacked up. But by the end of it, by like the funeral, his arm should have been fine, or at least getting better, or like in a cast instead of a sling still.
And I agree with you about that. With like even with Thanos, being weakened, and he didn't get that way until he tried to destroy the stones. Really, I mean, he was kind of weak, but his arm wasn't all like messed up like the Hulk's was.
Yeah, why do I feel like Hulk took a bigger hit?
I feel that, I mean, and if I understood this wrong, correct me. Aside from being a Titan, I mean, he was kind of like almost like a god or like an Eternal, wasn't he? He's in the comic, as far as the comics go, which is why he's able to would be able to even wield the stones.
So he's not an Eternal.
He's not just a Titan, though. You know what I mean? Like, I know he is, but he's not. That's not. Yeah, he's like a.
So from what I understand, Thanos is a Titan, but he's a genetically enhanced Titan. Mm-hmm. At least that's how it is. How it's written in the comics. They didn't really get into that in these movies. So, honestly, he could just be a Titan in these. But yeah, he's a genetically enhanced Titan. He's not an Eternal. Eternals are ancient humans that were experimented on by, I think, the Kree, like ancient Kree.
So like Ego.
No. Ego is a celestial.
There you go. Okay, then that's what I'm thinking.
That's it. I'm thinking wrong. The Celestials, I think, are the ones that created the Eternals. The Eternals are ancient humans that were tested on and experimented on by Celestials, trying to create like a perfect human. Mm-hmm. And then they just kind of became their own race. It's kind of like the Inhumans a little bit, but the Eternals are a little bit more powerful. And then they became what we know as the Greek gods, like Hercules and Zeus and all of them.
Or even like Odin, right? I mean, Odin would have been...
No, Odin's Asgardian. I don't think he's...
But I mean, I think he gets thrown in. Like, if you read the Infinity Gauntlet comic, I think there's a part where it has the Eternals. I think it's the Eternals or the Celestials, one of those. But they have all the different gods, like, from different sects, and I think Odin is counted in one of those. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've read that one.
I'll have to do some research on that.
But anyways, Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
Sorry, I keep taking you guys off topic.
So the first time I watched this, I hated everything about him. I felt like he killed the Hulk. Like, the only times that I was ever happy with Hulk being on screen is when with the Avengers, or during 2012. Mm-hmm. That was the only time I was ever happy with Hulk being on screen. Every other time, I hated it.
Not even in Sokovia at the end of Age of Ultron?
What?
In
Endgame.
I think he's saying in Endgame when they show...
Yeah, that was the only time I was happy with Hulk.
Sorry.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought you were talking about all the MCU.
I'm just talking when they went back to 2012.
Okay. All right.
That was the only time I was ever happy with...
So I have two separate questions then. This one is for... So, is this too harsh? This one is for you, Rose. Is this too harsh to give him an 85? And this one is for you, Caleb. Is that being too generous, giving him an 85? I don't know how to... I mean, I'd have to phrase that question differently depending on who I'm asking, but...
Okay, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. As much as I disliked what they did with the character, the second time I watched it, I was trying to just focus solely on how well their acting was. And Mark Ruffalo's wasn't up to par with Thor's or Captain America's. But I do feel that it was good. I am sitting at a 90 with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of his comedic stuff was a little weak. I don't think Mark Ruffalo is a very good comedic actor. But when he was like talking serious, talking shop and everything, that's when I feel he did his best work. One of his outstanding scenes for me is when he was in New Asgard talking to Thor.
Yes,
that was a really great scene.
I completely agree. Yeah, how he mentions
agree.
he saved him, but he helped him through hard times before.
Yeah,
okay.
That's an outstanding scene for me.
I agree with you. I consider me convinced. Then I'd say a 90 would actually be a good, fair score for him.
What are you thinking, Rose?
I agree. 90.
All right, 90 it is. All right, next we got Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye.
100.
I do think that he is up there on the acting scale with Thor and Cap.
Yes.
So I'm strongly considering 95 for him.
Can we say like 97?
97.
Whoa.
Is Rose? Were you serious about the 100?
No, I was kind of just threw it out as a joke, but
yeah,
I'm fine with 97.
He has a Hawkeye hard on. So
I know that, but I think he did actually a great job in this film. This is one of the few movies that actually brought me to tears. Infinity War was the most recent one that did, but that scene with him and Scarlett Johansson to get the Soul Stone, I mean, that got to me. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. I think he deserves a very good score. I mean, maybe he wasn't like, a main focus like Captain America might have been, or even Robert Downey Jr., but given the screen time that he had and how much focus they gave him, I think he deserves like a pretty high score.
I feel the acting from both of them in just that scene is just the strongest I've seen from either
from
of
them at
you feel,
all.
You feel a genuine connection with them because they are supposed. That's them. You know what I mean? Like that, you feel it.
Even the opening with him with his kids and his wife, I bought Jeremy Renner as a dad that's been doing this for years now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been better if they were all playing tag, him and his family.
That would have been amazing. I would have really appreciated that. They're playing archery tag.
Yeah,
twist on
it.
I really cannot express enough how much I love the scene between Hawkeye and Black Widow. Like, you knew when they were chatting about what needed to happen that they were talking about themselves going off. And I liked how this, they never outright said this, but you remember back in the first Avengers, the conversation Black Widow was having with Loki, talking about how she met Barton and saying that she had so much red on her ledger and he was supposed to go there to take her out, but he made a different call. And she says she made that comment, I don't know how I'd ever repay him.
Yep.
She did in this. That was her repayment for that call. Because he was in the same situation. He was out doing, being a vigilante in not a great way. And he felt that he was unredeemable, but ended up making it she made a different call than him.
Yeah.
So it just kind of came full circle.
Makes
and that's that's more of a development thing than
Yeah.
an acting thing. But I feel
But just in that scene alone, just like seeing them like fight over who gets to commit suicide is just so heartbreaking.
yeah, it's rough. So I think all of us are in agreement with 95 for Renner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can get on board with that.
I would agree.
All right, let's do it. All right. This kind of just goes in line because we've been talking about her too. Black Widow.
I don't know if I want to give her the same score or maybe bump it up a little bit.
Bump it up?
Just a little bit.
You think she did better than Renner?
Because she was the one to make the ultimate... Yeah, but this
Okay,
is just
you're
acting.
giving it
Sorry.
to Widow. You're not giving it to Johansson.
Sorry,
Yeah.
damn it.
I would-
Yeah, it might be the same then.
This move. So I've
I would
heard
I
a
would
bunch
say
of complaints. Sorry,
I wouldn't say the same.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. I don't know how much lag there is between here and there, but
No, you're good.
I wouldn't say the same score. I would say maybe just slightly lower, like just a point or two.
That's where I'm
If
sitting
that,
too.
if I-
Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At
'Cause
least 94.
I don't know. I feel her, especially like when she's in the Avengers compound and she's just the look on Johansson's face when Don Cheadle, War Machine, says, you know, like, you don't want to see what Barton's been doing. You just see tears just running down her face. She's just like, please find him. Just seeing, like, I don't know, just like the little moments in her acting that she does in this movie, like, I think they're on the same level.
You bastard. I think you convinced
All right.
me.
Yeah,
95?
yeah. Son of a bitch, Rose.
Yes. I think that's the first time I've ever convinced.
No, it's not.
Oh, it isn't. Oh,
Not me.
It's
I mean,
not.
it's probably the first time for him.
okay, good point.
All right. Next, we got Ant-Man. Paul Rudd. I loved him in this.
Oh, I did too. He was fantastic.
I did too.
So I think the most powerful scene from him, because he was playing more in a comedic role the rest of the time, but the best scene that stands out to me is when he sees Cassie all grown up.
I feel it's that scene, and
Yeah.
also when they go talk to Tony, and he's just like, you know, a lot of people lost people they love. I lost someone I love, and now that we have a chance to get it all back, you're telling me you don't want to do it? Just his acting alone in there is actually very powerful to me as well.
Yeah, that was a
I
great
mean,
scene too.
I even like when he's going to the monuments and running. I mean, like, there looks like some genuine, I don't want to say fear, but I mean, I guess you can call it that he's going to see Cassie's name on there.
I
When
completely
he's
agree.
looking for, I mean, yeah, I honestly, I kind of want to give him the same as Scarlett Johansson. And, you know, on this one, Scarlett Johansson and Jeremy Renner, I really do want to give them, like, probably the same score.
That's where I'm sitting
Yeah,
too.
me too.
I think the scene with Cassie, the way that he is able to portray sadness but just joy at the same time was just incredible.
Completely agree.
Like, you could tell that he was happy that he was seeing Cassie. Like, there was like a whole lot of shit that was going on in that scene.
Yeah.
First, it was the recognition that he realized it was Cassie. Then he was like sad to see her all grown up, but then happy that he's with her. Like, all of that happened in like one single moment, and Paul Rudd, his face pulled that off incredibly. So yeah, I'm beyond happy giving him a 95.
Me too.
All right.
All right, Rocket, voiced by Bradley Cooper.
I feel Bradley Cooper did great with what he was given in this.
I think he did too.
But I mean, he always does with Rocket. Like, I've never seen him give a bad performance as Rocket.
There's like some of his delivery is off for me a little
like,
bit.
Like, in what parts?
So, just whenever he's making a joke, his serious moments, like when he was talking to Thor
Yeah.
about everything, like those moments felt very genuine. It's just whenever he's making a joke that feel
like,
off.
outer space. He's like a puppy. Do you want to go to space, little puppy?
Yeah, like that scene.
Yeah.
That scene was just kind of like, okay, come on.
Yeah, that was one where I was like,
That kind of did just come out of nowhere. I did not. I don't know. I would have to agree with you guys on that.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at like a 90.
Yeah, I would have to agree with
that's probably the highest that I would give him too. Yeah.
Okay, Don Cheadle's War Machine.
I think for what he was given to, like just what he had, I would be willing to give him about a 90, and I think I can honestly be talked up still.
I'm sitting
I
at
liked
a 90.
his interaction.
Mine too.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm happy with that. I think that he had a good interaction with Nebula. You know, like I said, just the scenes that he had where it's him, I'd be willing to give him a 90. I thought he did really great.
The pairing of them was a great decision.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how well that worked.
Did you guys notice his suit change?
Yep, it was like red, white, and blue at the end.
Iron Patriot?
Yeah, where was that?
Yeah, I want to
That's
know
what
where
I
the
was
hell he
wondering.
got that armor. I'd like to know how the
And-
hell he got out of the... Oh, obviously Ant-Man busted them out.
Yeah.
But where did he
He-
get the freaking
he-
armor?
Because when the buildings collapsed on them, and Rocket stuck underneath some debris, he like is talking to his suit, and he's like, "Canopy, canopy," and it ejects him out of the suit basically, and he's crawling. But yeah, it never
I mean, they
shows
are,
how he gets that.
I mean, they are at Avengers Tower, so I'm sure he did have some suits stored there.
Yeah, but that place got
Right.
blown the hell up.
But also, I mean, Tony had those things so that they were kind of like in sync with who they're for. You know what I mean? Like, even with Spider-Man's suit, you know, it kind of like is adaptive to him. And same thing with Tony's suits, even his older ones. I mean, they kind of would just, you know, you go back to the one that he had it in the suitcase, and he like shoots it out, or it like shoots out and you know, it comes. I mean, I would imagine there was something like that there amongst the debris, but I don't know where he would have gotten it.
Yeah,
Considering
apparently
they're,
Iron
like,
Man plans for
about
everything.
to drown.
Yeah, right? Seriously, though.
Hey man, that's why he got 100 on this thing.
Yeah,
So he's sitting at a 90 with him?
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd be happy with a 90.
All right, Nebula.
I feel this was Karen Gillan's one of her best performances as Nebula. She was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I feel her performance as 2014 Nebula was a little weak, but her 2023 Nebula was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel that just is a testament to how good of an actress she is. Like, yes, they felt very different.
Mhm.
And there were a couple things with like the overall acting, but she did incredible with what I'm assuming is how she was written. So I don't want to give her a full 95, but I don't want to give her a 90 either.
I don't either, yeah. 93?
92.
I'm sitting at a 92.
Okay, 92 it is.
92? Okay. All right, and then Thanos.
Mr. Josh.
I wish he would have gotten more to do in this movie. I feel like...
Yeah, but then it would have been his movie again.
I know, yeah. Infinity War is definitely Thanos' movie.
I mean, I totally disagree. I think that he had once they introduced him, I think he just did again a phenomenal job. And also just I don't know, that's just my own humble opinion.
No, I completely agree. Like with everything that like Josh Brolin was given, he once again blew it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked his switch from it being like how he said like in all the times of being like a ruler, nothing's ever been personal to me. But now you guys pissed me off.
Like he's gonna
And I'm
enjoy it
in
this
all
time.
my years of conquest, what was it? It was like
Never once was it
Conquest,
personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this time I'm gonna actually enjoy it. I really am.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh damn.
What was the line he says? Like, the people still around will realize that it's a wonderful, perfect place to live. And then Cap's like, I want to say he's like, you're talking about like a monarchy, or I can't remember what Cap says.
He's talking about destroying.
He says it's because what he's saying is that he's gonna just shred the entire universe to the last atom and then rebuild it with new life, not knowing that what was lost, because they'll only know that what was given, so they'll be grateful. And that's when Cap says, that's all out of blood, or spilt blood or bloodshed, and he's like, they won't know it.
Yeah, because you won't be around to tell them.
Yeah, because you won't be around to tell them.
Okay, thank you for correcting me on that, Vic.
So that begs the question for me: if that doesn't solve an overpopulation problem, Thanos. That fixes that. Everyone around is gone, but that doesn't make you a benevolent ruler or a god or anything like that. That just makes you an asshole that no one knows. Like, hey, I destroyed the universe. Look at me. And then they're going to be like, who are you? And he's like, oh yeah. I'm dead too.
I mean, he's not exactly looking for... I don't think... at least I don't see him... I don't think he's really looking for the recognition exactly, but mostly just because he is dead set on there is too many people on this earth, or not on the earth, but there's too many beings in this universe. We gotta, chop that in half. I think he's still wanting to bring that number down, or at least bring it up to just half of what there is. You know what I mean? I mean, it's the Infinity Stones. He can do whatever he has set in his mind, but I mean, I don't know. I just...
No, that's a good point. Because, after the snap, he doesn't, go around, gloating. He actually just goes to his own little spot that he knows what he did was right, but he doesn't really care if anybody thanks him.
I really liked how he got to see someone chop his head off, and he was still destiny fulfilled.
Yeah, I
was like, oh shit.
He doesn't try and stop that. He doesn't think I need to stop this from happening, me dying. He just knows, he tells her, I did it. Obviously, some in their timeline or in their reality, I did it. I did what I set out to do, and this is a testament to that. And he's just proud of that. He doesn't care that he dies. Like you said, that's destiny, and that's destiny fulfilled.
Yeah, the only reason he gets involved at all is because he figures out that they're planning to bring everyone back.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, they're going to undo what I just did. These assholes.
No.
Well, not only that, but instead of him having to go and get the stones individually, they're going to get them all for him in one spot.
Very true.
Yeah. So what are we thinking with Thanos? Because I think he was good, but I don't think he was nearly as good as he was in Infinity War.
He wasn't.
But he didn't have as much time. I mean, you see Thanos right at the beginning in Infinity War.
I think...
like you said, Infinity War was like his movie, basically. He's shown a lot throughout that film.
Yes.
This one, you don't see him until almost halfway through.
That's a good point.
I mean, if we're because when the way that you guys judge the acting, you're going off of what they're given, and I mean,
he wasn't given a lot, but I feel like his acting was just as good as it was in Infinity War.
So 95.
I'm actually happy with the 95, and I was thinking that exact number.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Then our final one that we're going to... Well, we actually already did cover this. Was the rest of everyone else. We got 13 people that we feel made the biggest impact, but just didn't get enough to go over their acting. And we came to a total score of 76.5 with them, which is really going to jack up this curve, but
Yeah, how
whatever.
bad does that drop the grades?
So it was from a 93 to a 92.
Okay.
So our final grade for acting, I mean, we'll go over the others. Like, we'll just talk about one highlight each, because I think we each have one that stood out but wasn't mentioned. So just go like for Ro, like who was your highlight?
Mine
in the
will
group?
probably be the same as Vic's. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be his. It's Spider-Man. Definitely, especially towards the end when sadly Tony dies. Just seeing how much of a bond that Peter and Tony had, and Tom Holland's acting in that is just so amazing. Like, you can tell how far he's come with his acting since he started back in Civil War. That I don't know, like, I can't wait to see more of him as Spider-Man when it comes to how amazing Tom Holland is as an actor.
Now, am I going off of the acting, or am I going off of
Just
the
who
character himself that stood out?
the acting. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with this one.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go off of the acting, then I think that Rose is right. I'm gonna go with Tom Holland on that. You know, just for the little bit that he has, you just see that connection. I mean, again, it's, for me, anyways, seeing that scene. I mean, when he's like, you know, Mr. Stark, sir, you know, you did it. You know, we won, we did it. You know, the tears, the emotion, the connection. I mean, to me, it brought me back to seeing Black Widow and Hawkeye. You know, feeling that connection that those two had. I mean, obviously not as deep, not as long of a connection, but you can see, like, this was somebody that Peter Parker felt close to in this film, or in these films, and in this reality.
I feel it was kind of like him losing another uncle in a way, another father figure.
Someone made a really good point that they think that they're playing Iron Man like Uncle Ben.
If that's the case, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
My highlight character from the group that we picked was Frigga. With Renee Russo, Thor's mom. Even though she didn't have like a huge role in any of these movies, I feel like her performance stand out a ton. She played the mother figure really, really well, and I loved the scene with her and Thor, and it's exactly how a mother and son relationship should be, and is in most cases.
Yeah.
Like, if you have an issue where you're trying to deal with something that's mainly with self-identity, you need to talk to your mom about that. Like, that's just who you go to when you're having other issues. Like, there are some cases where you go to your dad or your grandpa or whatever, or whoever your father figure is, and that's for more things just to help you when you're having issues with like how your life is going. When you're having issues with just self-doubt and everything, with the emotional side of everything, that's when you need to talk to your mom. Completely agree. She like, her performance was just outstanding.
I feel this was definitely her biggest shining spot in the MCU, and I'm glad that she got to do this.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right. Well, that wraps up acting, and like I said, it brings our total to a 92.5 overall, which I'm pretty happy with.
I am too.
All right, moving on to character development. We're going to restrict this to the main 6 Avengers, Rocket, Nebula, and Thanos. So let's start off with Iron Man.
Not War Machine?
Not War Machine.
Okay.
So let's kick it off with Iron Man, with his character development. And this is spanning all movies.
Okay.
Okay.
And I have a lot to say about how he is, but he has probably the best arc, starting off with being the cocky ass rich boy and ending with the self-sacrificing hero. And all the story in between just builds into Iron Man.
Yeah, it's really the icing on the cake.
Yeah, like Iron Man has become more of Tony Stark, or like the only person that can be Iron Man is Tony Stark, to being as much of a symbol as Captain America. And Captain America started off as a symbol.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no issues giving Iron Man a 100.
I don't either.
I agree. I mean, you guys heard I sent in that voice clip for you guys in the part 1 of this episode, and hands down, Tony Stark has been probably my favorite. I even rooted for him in Civil War. I was on his side. If I have to be completely honest, I was on Tony Stark's side.
No
with
one
all
was
of
on
that.
Team Iron Man. It was
Well,
kind of
apparently
sad.
Victor
Sorry?
was.
Well, no,
I
it
was.
was honestly sad that no one was on Team Iron Man.
Because we're
And
not
no,
communists.
I agree.
But I'm sorry,
Well, my thing was this, and since this portion spanned throughout the entire MCU, going from the first Iron Man, like you said, he's this cocky, like, just this cocky millionaire, billionaire, whatever, like, he's above everyone kind of thing. And then you fast forward to Civil War, where he is, he's kind of having this change of heart, because that, like, the mom that comes up to him and shows him the picture of her son who died while he was, doing some humanitarian project after he graduated. He's realizing, like, there are people that are suffering because, and I get it. Like, he thinks he's doing what is right just as much as Captain America felt that he was doing what was right. And I mean, I'm not faulting Captain America or saying he was wrong. I'm just saying that I think I was on his side because I liked that you can see that character development, that character arc, where he's like telling them, if we don't keep ourselves in check, or if some don't allow ourselves to be kept in check, we're just as bad as the guys that we fight who don't think they have to be kept in check. And I liked that because he's willing to accept some kind of boundary and some kind of limitation to help the people that are there for them to help and to protect. And I think that he has just an amazing character arc. He's probably my favorite right now in the entire MCU. Save Spider-Man.
Well, it's cool to be on the wrong side.
I feel when it comes to Civil War, it's
Hey,
understandable.
but you know what? My character didn't get
understandable.
killed off and turned into Professor Hulk. But what? I'm sorry.
You know what? Oh,
Shots fired.
that's it. I'm
shots
flying to
fired.
California.
I'm going.
Whatever. Screw you guys. All right. Let's move on to Captain America. I feel his story arc wasn't as
strong as Tony's.
Definitely
No.
not as strong. He was, I don't know the word, stubborn
I feel
in
like
his morals.
I feel Cap's story really started kicking off in Winter Soldier. That's how I feel. I feel like it started off a little bit what's the word? A little laggy. Started to get a little better in the Avengers, but when it came to the Winter Soldier, what the Russos did with Captain America, I feel in a way kind of reinvented the character.
I feel like I didn't see a change in him until Endgame. I kind of like how we were saying, like, the comic book Thor character is very bland. That's how I feel about MCU Captain America. And that's not a bad thing. Again, I don't think that's bad at all. He's somebody that, he holds strong to his standards, and, he's got a good moral compass, and that's good. but I don't see very much change. Like, you always expect Captain America to do the right thing, you know?
That's why we were on his side in Civil War.
I mean, yeah, but again, like, you want to go unchecked, I mean, by all means, you know.
I have to go on the side the Hawkeye's on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
you're such a
bitch.
bitch.
Shut up.
If you guys want to be a villain, you know, go for it. But I mean, I don't know. For me, I just feel like, yeah, there isn't too much character development with him. That's just my opinion. Again, because I feel like I said, you kind of know what to expect out of Captain America.
Yeah,
I'll give you that
as a whole.
So what are we sitting at?
mean? In terms of a character arc?
Like if you're grading his arc, yeah. Because I'm thinking pretty low.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I'm going based off of like seeing some kind of change, like I said, you always know what to expect out of Captain America. Really, I didn't expect him to. He cut so much in this one, in Endgame.
Yeah, no kidding.
So for me, I was like, holy crap! Like when he ran into 2012 Captain America, and he's like son of a bitch, or no, are you shitting me? That's what he says. And I'm like, oh snap! Like he, I mean, to me, I was like, whoa, this is a totally different Captain America. Like he's letting loose.
He's finally adapted.
Like, yeah, he's like, But in terms of character arc,
he had a great story, not a super great arc.
Yeah.
Right. No, I'm not in any way saying he had a bad story. I do like his movies. I think he's great. They have good story. I want to say 60, guys.
60?
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Hey, you're judging off of a character arc though. This is how has the character changed?
But he's not 60.
Yeah, he hasn't changed. I mean, he doesn't change. Like I said, you know what to expect from the character. He's like I said, Captain America is somebody that people there always expect to do the right thing, and that's what he does. He's supposed to be a patriotic man of the people, and
but in a way, he kind of does go out of character in The Winter Soldier when he kind of decides to go against the government, considering that.
It's not because he's going against the government, because he's not a drone.
Okay.
He's fighting for people's freedom, and when the government's trying to impede on that freedom, that's when he's like, hell no, and goes nomad.
And even in Civil War, same thing. Like I will give that to you guys. Like, yeah, he sees that his own personal freedoms are being, threatened. But still, it's not just his. It's also everyone else that is, falls under that canopy of supers, if you will. You know what I mean? So,
I don't think he was super against being government controlled. His was just more of a case of, like, what if we need to get involved, but the government doesn't let us? Like, what if these people need protecting, but they're just like, no, you guys stay back? Mm-hmm. I think that was his main issue. He couldn't be the protector that he wanted or needed to be.
Right, but that falls into him. Well, but again, that falls into him being a man of the people, and and a protector. I mean, that's something you'd expect of him, though. Like you said, he's saying, hey, what if we're needed here, but you guys won't let us go? What if people need us over here, but you're not going to let us go help them? He's putting the people first. You expect that from him. So now maybe I'm misunderstanding your guys' grading on the character arc or your understanding.
The development is a main focus on the movie, so a main focus on Endgame, but we do take into consideration the other movies. Or at least what we've seen from them. But 60, bloody hell. I was thinking 90, maybe an 85 if I was being a little mean.
Oh, if I was being mean, I was going with an 80.
But he's not changing much. I mean, I'll accept being outvoted here, guys. This is your show. I'm just guesting on this, but I mean, like I said, I don't see much change in the character.
You're really effing up the curve here, Victor. Oh shit.
Well, wait till we
What?
get to Banner.
Oh.
To-
Oh, this is gonna be good.
Okay, I'm not gonna fight you on that one that much.
Exactly.
So all right, Captain America. So you're saying 60. You're saying around what?
85.
85. I'm sitting around 85 as well. So
Is the middle 75?
I think
I was actually thinking that.
70.
I'd
I
meet you
think
at
75 might be the middle.
Okay.
Okay. 75.
Poor Cap.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Hey,
Victor goes
I
for
mean,
the
I'm
freaking nuts.
hey man, I'm a tough grader, but I'm saying, like I said, if the whole MCU is up for game, I mean, you see a huge change in someone like Tony Stark from, start to finish, whereas Captain America, you don't see much difference in his character.
Maybe we're too nice.
Yeah, well, let's
I
talk
think
about
so.
someone that
I've
does
actu-
have
I've
a
actually-
huge change.
I've actually said that out loud multiple times when I listen to your show.
That we're too nice?
Yes.
Whatever. All right, let's go with someone that did have a huge change. Thor.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
damn.
absolutely.
I mean, he had an amazing arc in the first movie alone. Second movie was...
Can we just not talk about
Yeah,
that
let's...
movie?
Well, it's because he didn't really change anything.
No, he
like,
didn't.
honestly, I don't remember that movie.
I don't either.
I actually had to rewatch it not long ago just to
I-
kind of get a good idea of what happened in there.
I
Yeah.
remember him and Loki trying to escape. That's it.
Yeah. So in those two, he had I think a pretty good arc, but the saving grace from that is the first movie.
Yes.
Then Thor Ragnarok, or in Avengers and Age of Ultron, they just kind of kept him the same. But even with those, just him kind of flatlining there, his change in Ragnarok and Infinity War to Endgame, I think make up for the flatline time period.
I completely agree.
Not up there with Iron Man, but really freaking close.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting at a 95 with Thor on his arc.
Yeah. I that's probably about as high as I'd go for him as well. Because like you said, I kind of see that when I think of how his character has changed and developed from start to finish too, like I kind of see that flat line that you're talking about at the beginning. Like he kind of starts off, it's kind of, that flat line starts off pretty strong and heavy. But then you start, like you said, you start seeing a change in him. You see, a more realistic, like, how do I want to word this? It's more of like a more relatable struggle that he starts going through, like especially in Endgame. I mean, he's battling with things like, anxiety, depression. I mean, you don't expect that from somebody who, reveres himself a god. I mean, he even tells his mom that, that I'm not supposed to be like everyone else. I'm God of Thunder.
So 95 for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
All right.
Okay, I'm just gonna let you guys go at it with this character. Let's hear it.
All right. Getting to Hulk. Now, as a Hulk fan, I don't like where he went. As a critic, I can appreciate where they took him.
Okay.
So I liked how he was kind of in the Avengers. He kind of became a little bit more like accepting of the Hulk, of his Hulk self. Age of Ultron, he was having issues with it, struggling, trying to keep with the balance of being the Hulk and being Banner. With Thor Ragnarok, I think it showed. I think that was probably my favorite. In regards to MCU Hulk, my favorite representation of him, because it showed how different Hulk and Banner are. And then same with Infinity War, they just kind of continued with that, but did a main focus on Banner's side. and him trying to be like, all right, let's just continue where we left off in Age of Ultron. Like, Hulk, let's do this. And Hulk's just like, you know what? F you. And I love that fight. And then they freaking ruined it. Talking as a fan. They freaking ruined it in Endgame. And but like I said, I can appreciate where they took him. And I feel like they took him that direction because I don't feel the Russos knew how to play with a wild card like Hulk.
Yeah.
Do you feel if Joss Whedon was still around, he would have known what to do?
Yes. Yes, I do. Because he handled the Hulk really well in Avengers.
I agree.
Like, it still was that playing both sides, but they're two separate beings. And Taika Waititi did a really good job at playing that. And the Russo brothers just kind of were like, yeah, we're not dealing with him. So, like I said, as a fan, I hate the Hulk. Like, the MCU Hulk sucks. But I love the Hulk. So I'm going to just... It's kind of like... you want your kid to become a dentist, but he becomes a philosopher.
Or you want him to become a doctor, but he becomes a dentist? Is that
there you go?
better?
It's gonna...
No,
better.
I feel there's more
Sorry, how about
disappointment
that
in
one?
a philosopher.
Yeah, that's a good. Good analogy.
Yeah. So that's my relationship with MCU Hulk.
I agree with what you said, that the MCU may have done that in a way to, because they don't know how to handle that wild card.
Yeah, because in the comics, Hulk F's shit up.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's like why Planet Hulk started, because the Hulk, actually, the heroes came after Hulk, or after Banner. Banner hulked out and went on this rampage, and they're like, we can't deal with him anymore, and shipped him to a different planet.
Right.
And then he comes back and F's everyone up. And he's just like, yeah, miss me? And like in this, that's not the same kind of power I feel from MCU Hulk. His strength was inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
His healing was inconsistent and barely ever touched upon.
That's true.
And then I feel like I said, I feel like they killed him in this. But
They kinda
as an
did.
arc, I feel it worked for what they were going for.
Yeah.
So it didn't work perfect. So I'm thinking I'm sitting around a 90 for Hulk. As a fan, I'm sitting at like a 5.
I will give you that one, because I agree. I feel like, and again, just my opinion, I liked the second Hulk movie that they came out with Ed Norton.
The Incredible Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
The first one
appreciated
was
that
crap.
one.
The
Well,
first one was
duh.
crap, but I feel, but hear me out on this. I think that even still, I mean, the second one being the better of those two individual, standalone movies, that still doesn't mean they were good movies. It just means that the second one was better than the first one, which isn't saying too much, in my opinion, and from a lot of other people's opinions.
It's really not
But
saying
It
anything.
wasn't really hard to improve on Ang Lee's Hulk.
Right, but what I'm saying, and I feel like, even with something like the Fantastic Four, I mean, why do you think they haven't even talked about? Why do you think MCU or Disney itself hasn't talked about, making another Fantastic Four reboot? Because it's already had some pretty awful films, and even the last reboot that happened, was awful. I'd imagine they'd want to give it some time until they can find somebody that maybe can make that work. But I agree with you, Caleb. I think that since they started this whole thing, I feel like they've written that and arced it the way that they wanted it. Like, it wasn't perfect, it wasn't great, but it was the way that they wanted, to write him out for the time being, so that again, they don't have to hold on to that wild card for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ang
I
Lee
mean,
wrote
I-
the Hulk like a drama. And
Yeah.
Hulk doesn't work as a drama.
Doesn't.
No.
The MCU wrote Hulk like an action hero. He does not work as an action hero either.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he is big and smashes stuff, but that's not the only thing about him. He doesn't just fight these big people. He fights people that are intellectually smarter than him. And then he struggles. Like I've said before, his biggest enemy is Banner, and Banner's biggest enemy is the Hulk.
Mhm.
And they never touch on that struggle between them, and that's why I feel like they did the best that they could with showing that in Infinity War and Thor Ragnarok.
I feel the movies that really kind of only touch upon like their battle between Banner and Hulk are the first Avengers and Thor Ragnarok, because I did really think it was cool how basically Banner's Hulk for 2 years, and he felt like usually I have one hand on the steering wheel, but it seems like that moment Hulk just took over the steering wheel and I was thrown in the trunk. And just how in the first Avengers he's talking about how, you know, I try to put a bullet in my head and the other guy spit it out. Like there's no way I can get rid of this guy. So I think those are the two strongest movies when it comes to the Hulk as a character. But I completely agree with you guys, what you guys said.
So I'm sitting at a 90. What
I'm
about
gonna
you
have to
guys?
agree.
Yeah.
All right, 90. All right, Rose, take us away with Hawkeye and why we should give him a good score.
Mine actually might be a little low.
Really?
And it's because of the first Avengers. That's what really kills the score.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Continue.
So, I liked what they did with, you know, like, the beginning of Clint Barton. It's in Thor. We're first introduced to him that Coulson tells him to take Thor out, but he's like, well, he doesn't straight up say no, but, you know, like, he's, like, waiting for Coulson to give him the call, and he's like, you know, you better give it to me, because I'm starting to root for this guy. And then we don't see him again until the Avengers, and then I still don't understand why they did this. I don't know if Joss Whedon just didn't know what he wanted to do with Hawkeye, but they just mind control him from Loki, which really irked me. Like, I feel that, yeah, he's just like a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in the first Avengers, but I feel you could have given him some story, but I get that he wanted to focus on the main four. I can understand that, and Black Widow had already been somewhat established in Iron Man 2. But when it comes to Avengers Age of Ultron, honestly, I think that is Hawkeye's best movie. It's his moment to shine. Like, you get to see, like, how much of a smartass Hawkeye is in that. It's introduced that he has a family, that, you know, he's kept it off S.H.I.E.L.D.'s files. I feel it. With that movie, his character has the best moments to grow in that movie. He has a little bit in Civil War. You can understand why he picks Cap's side. He feels that, you know, he owes it to Cap and also Scarlet Witch. He gets a name mention in Infinity War. What was up with that? And then I loved what they did with him in Endgame. I thought the opening scene, how it was him and his family, and sadly watching them vanish, that was, oh my goodness, pulled at the heartstrings. And just seeing him, even though they never call him Ronin, but seeing him turn into Ronin, you can understand why he becomes that, and just seeing his character arc grow through that, and leading up to him and Black Widow having to get the Soul Stone. And just seeing them like battle to the death of who gets to commit suicide, and how you know, she feels that in a way this is her only way to fully erase her ledger, and he technically does. He has something to live for still. Then I feel after that he's kind of just like in the battle. The character really doesn't go anywhere after that. Just go after, you know, they're done with the battle. He gets to go back to with his family. But yeah, when it comes to his character arc, I feel like really the only problem I have with it is in the first Avengers, that they took an easy way out and they just mind controlled him. And even Jeremy Renner was pissed about that. He was giving them, you know, like opportunities to just kill him off, because he's like, this is not the character I signed up for. I signed up for Clint Barton. I didn't sign up for mind controlled Hawkeye. So the first Avengers is what kind of kills the character a little bit for me.
So where are you sitting at with his arc or his development?
I'm at about an 85.
85?
Yeah. Are you guys lower?
I can agree
I
with
actually would. Okay, I'll go ahead and agree with you just for the sake of.
I mean, unless you think he should get higher.
that.
I mean, by all means.
I was actually thinking like a 90.
Oh, okay.
I mean, just because I think just in Endgame alone, you see a big change. I mean, and that's just given that one circumstance, you know.
That's a good
I think you're right, though. They don't really do too much with Hawkeye throughout a lot of the films that he's in.
Yeah.
But considering that I think he was a character in Endgame that had a big focus, I feel like he had a lot of development in there just alone, just for that one, particular circumstance. I mean, like you said, he goes from being kind of happy and complacent, like, hey, you know what, he took a deal with the government, sure, he's on house arrest, but he's not in jail, he could be with his family, he loses his family, goes on this huge vigilante, rampage, just killing off all of these huge drug lords and cartel leaders, because they survived the snap, but they're still hurting people instead of helping, and I get that, but he's still out there killing and doing all this stuff, and to him, it's like, he's scum. And then, like you said, there's the battle, this battle between who gets to commit suicide for the Soul Stone, where he's thinking, like, I have such a tainted, such a tainted record right now, like, it should be me. But Black Widow's more like, Scarlett Johansson's character is more like, well, like you said, you've got a lot more to live for, though. You got a family, you got all this, and I think he kind of, after the jump and everything, and he has the stone and he's back, I think he accepts it for what she did. Accepts what she did for, for the reasons, anyways, that she did it for. I think he sees it and accepts it for what it was, and he tries to make the best of, do the best that he can, and make it worth the sacrifice that she made. So I mean, I would sit at like a 90. If you want to meet in the middle with that, or
I would actually agree. I think you just talked me up.
I'm not gonna disagree either. So 90?
Yeah.
Okay.
90.
All right. We need to knock some of more of these out because we're running real long here.
Oh shit. Okay.
Black Widow. What are we thinking with her? Because I think she's been pretty consistent.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I feel her sacrifice in Endgame was her biggest character growth throughout everything that she's been able to do in the MCU.
Yeah, but she's been pretty much the same. The only thing, like, she's had little things come up, like in Winter Soldier, she kind of realized that she had a friend in Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
In Civil War, she kind of stood up for what she believed a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just like little things here and there, but overall, I don't know.
You feel like
I'd be willing to say like an 85 for her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, same here. All right. Rocket. I actually really liked Rocket's development.
I do too.
I liked how he was just kind of like, oh, I need to be on my own. All this, like, I don't need anyone. And then he kind of gets that like sense of family, but then I feel like he's trying to sabotage himself in Volume 2. He
does a little bit.
He's realizing that he has people that could be used against him now, and he's just trying to like push them away. But he's also kind of realizing that, hey, I don't need to. They're going to be here no matter what.
Yeah, I did really appreciate in Endgame that he actually finally pointed out that, like, with that snap, I actually lost the only family I feel I actually ever had.
Yeah. And I feel like even though it's a small arc, it's a pretty good arc to follow.
It is. Like, I'm amazed how James Gunn and the Russo brothers were able to take a side character and give him a pretty decent arc.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Vic?
I agree with you guys on that. I would say for him, given the amount of time that they've given him on there to develop that arc, I would say close to like an 85, and I could probably be talked up to a 90.
I'm setting at a 90.
Yeah, I'm too.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
And then like I said, I could be talked up to that, so I'd give that one to you.
All right, cool. All right. Next we got Nebula. Hers is a little weird to follow.
It is.
You kind of get like a backtrack of her a little bit in Endgame because you get to see 2014 Nebula again.
Yeah, which was really trippy.
Yeah, and I really liked how, like, hers, she was just always after Gamora, just trying to be better than her, trying to beat her, all this other stuff. And I feel like hers was a little forced in Volume 2. She's trying to freaking hit Gamora with a freaking spaceship, and then she follows it with, "I just wanted a sister." I'm like, you could have fooled me.
There's other ways to express your feelings.
Than words.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, maybe we should try painting.
Some people show that with hugs. Others show it by running you over with a spaceship. I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think her turning point was in Infinity War when she was being tortured by Thanos, and Gamora gave up the location of the Soul Stone for Gamora, or for Nebula.
For Nebula.
Gamora gave it up for Gamora. No, she gave it up for Nebula, and I think that really stuck out to Nebula as a character, and I feel like they got to explore her love for her sister a little bit better in Endgame.
I completely agree.
Like it said, has its issues. It's a little hard to follow. So for that,
I think, like you said, though, like it gives you a little backstory in Endgame. So
yeah.
I think that kind of helps out because it shows you like where she was. Like you said, she's always trying to compete with Gamora. So I feel like, honestly, I was kind of thinking like a 90.
A 90?
If I'm being honest. Yeah,
I was thinking more 80.
That's what I was thinking too.
80?
Yeah.
85?
85?
I could do that, yeah.
All right.
I would say that would be fair.
85. And then last, we got Thanos. He doesn't... I mean, he's kind of been a part of the MCU since Avengers.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really had an arc until Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
But even...
Right, so, but even there, I mean, what... There's no character develop or like change really. He's still, other than at first, like when he's explaining to Doctor Strange in Infinity War how he was like, I recommended this to my world, Titan, and they thought I was a madman when I told them, I suggested this before, it would be, rich and poor. Basically, there's no,
no bias.
What was no bias whatsoever, but, other than him going from that to, in all my years of conquest, carnage, and bloodshed, it's never been personal, but now I'm going to enjoy this when I rip your world apart. Like, that's the only change I see in him, other than, you know what I mean?
I have to agree.
I mean, all it is like they're trying to stop him from like destroying the universe or like killing half the people in the universe. And so to him, he sees that as, you're trying to stop me from something that I want to accomplish. now it's like, hey, you're not only trying to stop me, so now I want to like really I'm gonna enjoy destroying something that you love because you got, especially your world, your planet.
I'm going to F you up.
Yup.
All right.
He specifically says your planet. Like, when I tear apart this planet, like, I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking? Rose?
I don't know, just because I love Thanos so much, I want to say like 85, but I feel that might be a little too high.
85? It's not a bad... Like, I don't think that's a bad score for him, and I don't think it's... I think it's a pretty fair one.
Okay.
Like we said, his only thing was he went from being impartial to personal. Like, shit got real.
Right.
And so I'm comfortable sitting at an 85 with him. Like, I feel it's pretty in line with Nebula. What are you thinking, Victor?
I'll give that to you guys only because the Captain America argument already kind of drained me of any energy to fight for for what scores I feel these character arcs deserve. But I'll give you the 85. I was probably gonna say 80, but I'll go with the 85 for you guys.
Okay, 1 second here. 85. All right, that brings our character development to an 88.3.
Not bad.
All right, getting into the real quick stuff. Music. Was there any music that you felt didn't fit in? Anything that stood out to you?
I just want to point out something really quickly. So the opening song after we see Hawkeye's family disappear when it's doing the Marvel logo is the song Dear Mr. Fantasy.
Right.
Someone pointed out in a YouTube comment that's kind of like at a nod to like Stan Lee, Mr. Fantasy, after like all this, like sadness, like, can you give us something good?
Mm-hmm.
So I loved that song choice. When I read into that, I'm like, okay, I appreciate the Russos picking that song.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so this one's a 1 out of 10. So where are we sitting?
I'm like at a 9 because
yeah,
honestly,
I'm comfortable with a 9.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if there was like any song, but I feel they used music really well.
Like the song that plays when Cap and Peggy are dancing is perfect.
Mm-hmm. I'm almost wanting to put a 10 because I don't.
Yeah, I would give you a 10 as well.
Yeah, no, I'd give that to you.
All right, let's do it. Let's go 10. All right, effects. So effects is out of 100. For you, Victor.
Someone, IGN, when they reviewed this movie, were pointing out there were some like patchy special CGI parts.
Like where?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I didn't see a lot. I saw more in Infinity War than I did in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't notice any. Like, even, like, I was expecting Hulk to look a little funky, but he looked amazing.
Yeah, he looked great. The motion capture's really come a long way.
Yeah.
Even, like, you look at, like, Thanos, and I mean, I didn't see it so much in here because, like you said, like, Infinity War especially was, like, that was, like you said, that's Thanos' movie, but you see, like, close-ups of Thanos, he looks so real, you know?
Does.
But I mean, I think the effects in this movie were amazing, too. I had the chance, my third time seeing this, we accidentally got into, I don't know how, but we ended up with a 3D movie, and it actually wasn't that bad. I'm not a fan of 3D movies, or seeing movies in 3D, but it actually was really good. The effects on there were still fantastic.
Yeah, like everything looked good. The portals looked really good when everyone started coming in. When they started using the shields, Pepper looked really good. Iron Man looked really good. There was nothing that stood out in Shazam.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 95, just because you could tell that Iron Man was fake. Like, if you're being really, really freaking picky.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting strong 95.
I'm too.
Yeah.
Okay, and costumes. This one is out of 10. One costume that stands out to me is Rocket. When they went into the past, like, he has his comic book accurate suit. Like, it's that blue, like, I don't even know what kind of shirt it is, but it has like the straps, like the buttons on the top. Like the really dark blue with the red. It's not even a border.
He's got like a little Space Voyager kind of thing going on, like a little. Looks like a little pirate, man. I don't know.
Yeah, like exactly. That's like if you Google Rocket, and search like for the comic book, that's what he looks like. Like that's what his suit looks like.
And I actually found, and now I do a lot of, and I send you a lot of those articles and stuff, like some of the ones I think will appeal to you. But I do a lot of reading when it comes to what the MCU plans on doing, or even like feedback about a lot of what the MCU has done. One of the things that I've seen is they actually have pictures of the MCU version of a lot of the characters. So someone like Iron Man, Rocket is on there, Thor, who else? Star-Lord, and then they have them side by side with their comic book character, like how they look in the comics. And I mean, it's not dead accurate, but it is damn close. And it is great. I mean, they do a great job as being as close and comic book accurate as possible. And that is what I love about the Marvel characters in the Marvel movies, is how much they try and keep them, like, you know, true to the comics as they can. And I love it. I honestly, like, if I want to give it a 10 personally, because I think they do great. If I can find those pictures, I'll have to send them to you, and you'd probably understand why I want to give them a 10. But I mean, it looks, I mean, I think it deserves a 10. That's just me.
I'm sitting at an 8.
I was going for a 9. We're all divided here.
I'm sitting at an 8 because I feel.
You say Hulk, so help me, I will slap.
No, I'm sitting at an 8 because I hated the Hulk's outfits. The only thing he needs are purple shorts. That's not hard to do.
Well, but the Hulk is
not
civilized
Hulk
now.
He's Banner now.
No, screw that shit.
Just Banner.
No, if I can't get him for character development, I'm sure as hell going to get him for costume.
He's Hoolander.
Right, how about we let Roses be the winning score on this, a 9. That's literally the middle of all of our scores right here.
It is.
Because, like I said, if I can find those pictures, I'm gonna look for those pictures. I know it's on an article, I believe, and if I can find it, I'm gonna look it up tonight, and I'm gonna send it to you tomorrow. If I can find it, you'll understand why I'm sitting at a 10, because I think that, you know, these guys have done a great job with trying to get them as comic book accurate as possible.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason I'm sitting at an 8 is because of how much I hated how the Hulk looked. And the only other, like, costume complaint that I have is when Thor was coming into the what's it called?
Avengers compound?
Yeah, when he was coming into the compound.
Oh, his big Lebowski getup?
Yeah, they were forcing the Lebowski joke hard.
Yeah.
But other than that, it, like, all the rest of the costumes worked perfectly for the characters. So
we can agree on a 9 then?
We can agree on a 9.
I'd say so.
Good job, Rose.
Yes.
Okay, and then lastly, we got the overall genre grade, which we decided the genre of this movie was a superhero action film. It did have elements of drama in it, but I think overall it was more of an action film.
Yeah.
So I feel with it being a superhero film, there has to be aspects of epicness. There has to be a villain for them to beat and all this other stuff. And I feel with how well it worked with the genre, I feel it had those epic moments and they were just raised up even more with how well the music worked. and then they had the emotional moments, and then and that was just how well they did with the acting. And then they had like the action sequences that were just amazing to watch.
It's easy to tell, even like at the beginning of this movie, that these are the highest the stakes have ever been in the MCU.
Yeah. After Infinity War, I was half expecting them to lose again. Yeah, so what are you thinking for a genre grade as a
What's this
superhero?
one graded out of?
Oh, out of 100.
Out of 100?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really close to giving it almost a perfect score.
That's
I'm
what
being
I'm sitting at
honest.
too.
Yeah,
I
me
don't want to give
too.
it a 100%
No, I'm not
perfect
thinking
just because of
100,
Hulk.
I'm not thinking 100, but I'd say anywhere from 95 and up, I'd be willing to be like, yes, it's full deserving of that.
I'm sitting at a 98.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
like I said, I'd say it's full deserving of any of those because it's near perfect to me.
It really is.
Yeah, it is what superhero films should be.
Yes.
Right.
And
Literally, all of the feels have been felt in this film.
I mean, I don't know
Sadness.
about you two,
Uh,
but sorry, Vic, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. You're good.
But I've never felt so giddy in a movie theater when Captain America finally said, "Avengers Assemble."
I've never
Yeah.
felt so giddy when he freaking grabbed Thor's hammer.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
Freaking Mjolnir, yeah, dude, that was amazing.
But what was up with him whispering "Assemble"?
I know.
It's like, wait, what did he say? Oh, he said "Assemble." Oh shit. Okay.
I mean, maybe the acoustics were just amazing. He didn't have to yell it. Maybe he just realized, like, oh,
That's
you
a
know
good
what?
point. That's a good point.
Yeah, all the Black Order and the Outriders were just like, oh shit.
and let's be real. Let's take this into effect too. Homeboy just took a beating. He's like, he probably doesn't even like have the energy to yell anymore, even after yelling
Yeah.
at Avengers.
That's a good point.
And then, honestly, if I was any of those other guys coming out of the portals, if I see him running, I'm like, oh, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, we're doing this. Let's go. You know, like, you know, you don't even have to say assemble. As soon as I see someone running, I'm going. You know?
Yeah, true. Good point.
All right, so putting that at a 98, that brings our final score to a A-.
Wow, we gave it harsher than Rotten Tomatoes did, I think.
Yeah, so it's sitting at a 93,
Okay.
really close to being a 94. And I think I have to check, but I think sitting at a 94 would bring it up to an A. So it's a couple points away.
Okay.
And I'm fairly happy with that. I don't necessarily agree with Captain America's score that we gave him for development, but I mean, it is what it is. We don't decide how this shit goes. I mean, we do, but
just trying to be unbiased, guys. Just trying to be unbiased.
yeah. So A- for Avengers Endgame.
No, I mean, Vic did point out some good points when it came to Captain America.
Yeah. So
Like I said, I'm just thinking I want to see some character change if we're judging on arc.
No,
I
I
don't
get
see
you
any-
there.
yeah. Well, that concludes this episode or this breakdown of Avengers Endgame
Part 2.
Part 2. But yeah, again, one of a longer episode.
Yeah, how long?
This easily could have been 3.
Yeah,
like
it
3
could have been
parts.
3 parts.
Yeah, so we're sitting at like 2 hours 25 minutes
Damn.
when we're done.
Hey, that gives me something to listen to, man, at
There
work.
you-
So it's
Hell
all good.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you liked this episode and want to check out more of our stuff, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, or Spotify. You can also check out our content on YouTube. All of our episodes are released on YouTube. And new videos will be headed your way soonish.
Yes, because I actually did get some work done at UVU this past week. So.
Did you? Good on you, dude.
Thank you.
You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/theallbros or on Twitter. Our handle is @theallbros. No punctuation in either of those. And if you have something you want us to discuss in the next episode, or a movie we should see, or just anything really, be sure to email us at theallbroschannel@gmail.com, or you can fill out a form on our website, tinyurl.com/theallbros.
Can I suggest one on here right now, since I'm on here with you guys?
Yeah, what?
Okay, Brie Larson, I found, is an amazing actress.
Well,
If you guys haven't seen it, it's currently on Netflix still, called The Room.
Oh, that's on
Now,
Netflix?
if you haven't seen, it's on Netflix. It is an amazing film.
Yes, I've been trying to watch that movie.
I highly recommend it.
Okay, well, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Great movie. I would love to hear you guys hear what you guys have to say about that one, because that one is a heart-wrenching film. If you haven't seen it or don't know the premise of it, it is. That one is very hard to watch, but it is a great film.
Yeah, we can do that one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we were going to do, what was it? We were going to update our MCU showdown list.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if we got a movie to watch, we'll watch a freaking movie.
Definitely need to do Detective Pikachu in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes, that looks good.
So, I'd say next week we do... next week we're going to break down The Room.
Okay.
And then the week after that, Detective Pikachu.
Sounds good to me.
Hells yes.
And then the week after that, the MCU redo showdown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless we got something else to do by that time.
Okay.
All right, Victor, where can we find you?
You can catch us on Spotify, Stitcher, Breaker, Anchor. If you have that, those are great ways that you can listen to our show. Currently, I don't have a Facebook page up. I've kind of just been using my personal page right now and sharing links when I can. But we can be followed on Instagram. It's Crash N, like the letter N, Taz, Movie Cellar, with underscores in between each word. So Crash and Taz Movie Cellar. And actually, we play fun little games. My co-host, who's an uncle of mine, since I was in high school, has always named movies that I'm watching without even knowing. He'd walk in on the middle and be like, "Oh, this is, I don't know, Country Strong or whatever the hell movie I'm watching." And I think this last episode, I think he finally got one wrong.
Well, okay. We need to address that one because he didn't watch, or he hasn't seen it.
He hadn't seen it, but he knew. I mean, he'd known of the movie, he'd heard of it. But I'm just throwing movies out there that I don't know if he's seen or hasn't seen them. Because I didn't think of that he hadn't seen it. But I'm just kind of putting movies out on these clips,
right,
to try and see if I can catch him on them. But if you follow us on Instagram, or once I get a Facebook page up for us, I actually put a movie clip or a screenshot of the clip, and I give you guys a chance to guess what the movies are. Every now and then we'll be doing little competitions. If you can beat Roger, or Taz as he's known on the show, then you will actually win an In-N-Out gift card. And if you don't have an In-N-Out near you where we live, or where you live, then I don't know, McDonald's or whatever the heck is.
It's honestly really sad if they have an In-N-Out, because In-N-Out is just
that'd
amazing.
be awful, but I think they only go as far as Texas now. So I think Texas and Utah are the far, Utah, Nevada, California, and
so basically just the
West. Texas already, yeah, just 4 states have it, I think. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, so if you guys can beat him, occasionally we'll have those little competitions going where I'll announce it, and you guys are able to win an In-N-Out gift card.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, it'd be awesome if anyone could beat him.
I already know I couldn't.
You want to know something, actually? And somebody actually turned in their answers late, but they got all but one wrong, or all but one right. And
so he
I
tied.
don't even remember which. Yeah, he tied him, but he didn't beat him.
Wow, that's impressive.
And right now, I think we've done this. So I put 5 clips on each one. We've done this like 4 times now. So he's at like a 19-1 record right now. So he's gotten like 19 out of 20 films right.
Yeah, and there's some vague ass freaking films too.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, like, I go from the 80s to, 90s, even some, occasionally I'll throw in some that are more recent, but it's fun times.
Sounds like fun.
Well, cool. So yeah, go check that out and subscribe. And then, like we said, next week we'll be doing a breakdown of The Room. And with that, this has been the All Bros Podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we'll catch you guys next week. Deuces.
So long.
Peace.
You were delayed there again, Victor.
Damn it. It's not my fault.